Holocaust Memorial Day 2020. Schools in a theatre sharing the history of genocide. A civic memorial service. And an art exhibition.
I was part of the organisation and coordination of the day, which involved going into schools. It was the question of how many of you know about the Holocaust. It was asked, and you could see not every arm in the room was going up. So there definitely is that need to educate.
So there were some dances, there were some dramatic pieces, and there were some presentations to show a varied representation of just how awful events like the Holocaust, the Rwanda genocide, the Bosnian genocide, and many more awful events that have occurred.
We talked about the Holocaust and we talked about Anne Frank's story. And we think this is really important to teach people so it doesn't happen again, and because it was such a horrific event that we really think it shouldn't, and that we need to prevent it as much as we possibly can.
We always come every year, and it's wonderful to see all the young people performing on the stage. It's just absolutely amazing.
Local children are the heart of the project.
What the young people have put into it with their preparation and their learning and their passion on the day has been so moving and absolutely excellent.
Young people like student Lucy Boiling, who went to Auschwitz in her sixth form.
Taking part in the project, I had a very basic understanding of the Holocaust. When we were shown on a map the areas affected by the Holocaust, the scale of it struck me. It was shocking to consider how many countries had been involved, how many victims, perpetrators and bystanders there were.
Learning about genocide can be a real life-changing experience.
Going to Auschwitz was an emotional experience, but it was worthwhile. I've learned that standing together is the correct thing to do, and that prejudice and injustice within society is wrong. It's impacted my future because I'd now like to one day be a lawyer to fight injustice within society.
The facts. Murder, genocide, prejudice and discrimination affect younger pupils too.
I think that it's been good for me because I understand now how people suffered so badly and how you have other people who had to work for the Nazis, and not only those but when the other genocides, having to help participate in covering up the evidence.
People who refused or did not leave quickly were murdered.
Young people understand history is real and relevant today.
I feel like with the Holocaust Memorial Day, it's not just about Holocaust, but as genocide as a whole. The Holocaust is one of the most known historical events of a lot of the time on Earth, but not a lot of the genocides get as much attention. And I think it's amazing the fact that they're bringing the other genocides into the Holocaust Memorial Day.
And of course it's not really that long in some cases. We were saying today Bosnia is certainly within living memory and not very far from our shores. But we felt that it was important to get as many people as possible. And that was the reason for bringing it into this theatre, where we can have far more children and involvement from, as it happens, all the secondary schools in Welwyn Hatfield.
I knew that there was genocides currently going on today, like the Darfur genocide, but Rwanda in particular, I just didn't know really until today.
The value of events like this is that the young people prepare for months beforehand, and the material they've brought on the stage this morning they will have written themselves, having done their own research.
The young people that I work with were very interested in doing the artwork around it, and I had a young girl of the age of 15 who wrote a poem called The Eyes of the Storm. Within that poem it just explained her feelings of what she thought about what genocide and the Holocaust meant to her, and when we read it out it was such an emotional response and everything. It was just amazing.
I can't stress this enough. I think it's so important for teachers to teach about Holocaust Memorial Day in schools. We can't be blinded by our own 24 hours and the short life that we live. We need to remember what happened in history and how far human beings can sink if we're not kept in check. It's so crucial. I think it's so important. I do go into schools. I think it's of utmost importance to teach this and spread this. I myself had family from Lithuania who got killed in the Holocaust. You know, we can't stress this enough.
Well, I was privileged to be invited to a school's event for Holocaust Memorial Day about 5 years ago, which had been organised by the County Sacre, funded by the County Council, and involved at least 10 schools. And I was blown away with it, as was one of my friends from Welwyn Garden City Synagogue who was with me.
Why do you think it's so important to get schools involved in Holocaust Memorial Day?
It's simple, because the youth is the future, and if we're going to continue to remember all the Holocausts and the other genocides, you can't just do it with a few old men like me.
Young and old stood together in 2 minutes silence.
A few weeks ago I had the privilege of meeting a Auschwitz survivor. He said it didn't start with the gas chambers. It didn't start with the gas chambers. It started with discrimination. And I've been trying to think about what this means, and I'd like to leave you something to take home. Today we need to ask ourselves, is there anybody that I don't approve of? And because I don't approve of them, I don't accept them. And I think if we really think about this and chew this over, then we could look forward to a better world with more peace.
Events like today will help reduce hate crime, and more funding will help more children to be involved.
I think that diversity is still a thing that we're trying to push, and we're still trying to get people in the community to accept different people with different religions, different cultures, different sexualities, different genders, and I feel like that's really relevant in today's society.
One of the objectives that we have in the Whisper project I run, where we take visitors from different faiths into schools, is for the young people to really get the opportunity to listen to another human being's story, which might be radically different from the way they're living their own life, so that they can develop those skills of empathy, so that they will be people who are listening in future. And I think that empathy generates compassion in people.
I'm pleased that we're able to make more of an event of it than we have in the past. And the significance of the 2 doves. Yeah. I'm sure the children will appreciate that.
Do we know where they went?
They circled. They wanted to see Welwyn Garden City in its 100th year.
Yes.
And I understand they do return. They're not lost.
Yes.
I just think it's very important for young people to be aware. So even today, through seeing all the genocides and the years going up and up, and seeing history repeating itself, it's quite scary that even though these things like the Holocaust have happened, that genocides still continue to this day. And I think that's something students could really take away today.
On behalf of the council, I'm extremely proud of how my team pulled this together by working tirelessly throughout the year with schools, and I'm really grateful as well to the Welwyn Hatfield Interfaith Group for all their liaison with the community and their work with us to make this happen. So I think it's a brilliant example of partnership work. It has the most valuable message, and I genuinely am confident that it will help young people really understand the causes of these evil events in history and how we can actually do something about it together.
It takes one to turn the heads of a few to turn the heads of thousands. Maybe then we will stand together and brave the rain.